Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So our first deck profile of BT7 is here, and I had to start it off with some yellow hybrid, but I wanted to show you just one of my versions that I took a little twist on that's a little bit off the cuff from what you see a lot, and honestly I'm loving this twist simply because of the fact of a single option card that this version enables is so incredibly strong. Let's get into this. Also, our Patreon reward for the month of February is going to be the Armor Egg of Friendship. So for all of you super excited about that new Armor Evolution, the whole Armor Evolution deck, this is a great choice for that. As well as if you're going to be playing some of the Pyildramon, Impurigramon deck, once that starter deck comes out, this is going to be a great memory marker for that. This is of course handmade out of clay by my wife as always, and just super amazing memory marker for sure. Very excited for that deck. Also, if you'd like any of our previous memory markers we've had on the channel, check the coffee link in the description below. There you can get access to all the previous memory markers that we've had on the channel. The benefit though of going through Patreon is you can get the featured memory marker of the month for usually a better deal. Alright, so jumping in here, first up, we're going to cover the purple. This is the purple aspect of the yellow hybrids, and because of how yellow hybrid works is all their yellow tamers are basically their rookies. For the most part, you don't really need to run yellow rookies. The only argument is maybe a Susanomon for a little bit of recovery in late game, mid to late game, or a Patamon to hard play to search for tamers. But even then, the Patamon you're just hard playing anyways, so it boils down to yellow. Only thing you need is the Susanomon for the recovery. But in this build, we are running Ghazimon, who's already going to be doing lots of recovery for us anyway, that I don't think the Susanomon was too needed, so I jumped on the opportunity to throw in an alternate color baby. So first up, we got Demi Marimon here. So on deletion, draw one, trash one. Of all the babies, this is the only one that really felt like it mattered because it's just going to happen. And to combo with it, what I use for the feature match, what I prefer to use is the Tapirmon. So on deletion, draw one. So when they both get deleted together, you basically draw two cards, discard one. Yellow doesn't really have anything like that, so being able to get more draws in your deck is so good. This combo together is so good. It feels so awesome. Absolutely love it, because that's all I need. I'm never going to evo into anything higher than Tapirmon, so it's perfect. Now, I did want to have a caveat here is Ghazimon, because yellow doesn't have a memory blocker. Ghazimon's not a bad choice. If you want to go, you could go 2 and 2, or I would say just probably go 4 and 4 ultimately. Even if you get a second Ghazimon that you can get on field, you can just crash with one of them. You'll still get the Demi Marimon draw one, trash one, and a security check while still having that secondary Ghazimon like actually staying on the field to do its job. How that's applicable is against like blue decks. Blue just like running tons of Hammer Sparks, and even if say you hit into a Ice Wall that's in security. Now at this point Ice Wall will be limited to 1, but still having 4 Hammer Sparks and an Ice Wall potentially triggering in security, being able to turn that off is great. But the real benefit of memory blockers, this format, Bokumon, that thing is crazy. It basically makes all level 4 hybrids free evos, okay? Because when you evo into a hybrid, you gain 2 memory. So all those 2 cost evos are now basically free. So being able to turn those off is very good. So it's just a balancing act. I think the Tapirmon is just useful against every deck, and the Ghazimon is useful against blue and hybrid decks. And granted, hybrid will be incredibly played, so you will probably see some value out of it, but it's also just kind of easy to play around. Like you don't have to have the Bokumon on play to do all your cool hybrid shenanigans. So like, okay, I don't gain my free 2 memory. It's okay. Like I'm still gonna go off and do some crazy stuff, especially if I have a memory fixer on field. All I need is 3 memory, 2 evo, and then 1 evo into my level 5. And then I can just evo into my mega. So a memory blocker, while yes, good, I don't think it's too necessary. I just think the Tapirmon just has just consistent value overall. So that's why we're running it. Real reason, though, we're running the purple is right here. This Schwartz Lehrazatz. Yeah, I suck at those names. Gwaltschwarmer. I can say Gwaltschwarmer. But the effect here is for each Digimon with hybrid in its traits and tamer you have in play, delete one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. Level 5 or lower. That's insane. Okay, like level 4 or lower, I would understand. Like that felt balanced. Level 5 or lower feels very imbalanced. Okay, and if there's an imbalanced card that they're going to let us play, might as well play it. Okay, I'm very much an advocate for that. If there's a good card, play it. Don't not play it because it's good. Okay, I hate that whole argument of don't play good things because everyone else is playing because they're good. Like, no, if it's good, play it. So how this is great. So all those hybrids, you just blow up all your opponent's hybrids. A lot of these players are really just sticking to these level 5s like Beowulfmon or Jet Sylphimon. Right? They're just doing this hybrid rush, and that's all it is. It's just Evo into a hybrid, swing into security, and die. Or they might build up a couple things on field. You know, something like this is huge. Also, it really, like, they hit it in security, and it activates its effect in security, blow up your opponent's stuff. In a hybrid deck, you're going to have a lot of tamers on field. It's just how it is. You know, you're going to have multiple tamers, probably a hybrid or 2 on field. So you're going to get, 2, 3, 4 deletes out of this very easily. And level 5 or lower, like how huge is that? Think of all those board wipe cards out there. Even Gwaltschwarmer, I just talked about it. Like imagine if that Gwaltschwarmer only affected your opponent's field, and in addition to that, it triggered insecurity. Like how busted would Gwaltschwarmer be if that's what it did? And that's basically what this does. And for one less memory, I might add, this card is busted. Oh my god, every game I've played, this has been a blowout card. Every game I've played with this deck, this card has put in a tremendous amount of work. I think this is like the tech thing to do. It's purple, this purple package right here inside of a yellow hybrid deck. Even other hybrid decks, it really fits in there. If they don't need their rookies, then absolutely. And then I've got 2 cards in here just because it works with this particular build. So when you lose a card in your security stack, you can suspend her to gain 1 memory. You can do it on your opponent's turn. Your opponent evos and goes into 0, gets themselves to 0 memory, and they swing in for a security check. You should activate Kari and pass turn back to you, or just extend your plays. So I said we are using Dynasmon, and then lots of recovery works really great with Kari, because normally you have Kari, you get 5 uses out of her. Essentially, that's it, 5 uses, and that's it. In a deck like this with tons of recovery and Dynasmon, like it's almost an infinite amount. However many cards you have in your deck is essentially how many uses out of this card you can get, and that's massive. So a great card. I really like it in this particular build. All right, so moving on to the real meat and potatoes of the deck. This right here is kind of your core package here. You're gonna have your 2 level 4 hybrids, your level 5 hybrids, and then your Bokomon. So Bokomon is pretty much a staple in every hybrid deck because on play, reveal 5 cards from the top of your deck, add 1 hybrid or 10 warriors in its type, and 1 tamer card among them to your hand. Place the remaining cards on the bottom of your deck in order. Also, your turn, once per turn, when your tamer digivolves, gain 2 memory. Holy crap. So like both of these level 4s, when they evo on top of a tamer, it's 2 evo cost. So right there, it's basically free. If Bokomon's on field, it's a free evo, and that's what makes this whole combo just absolutely absurd. So you can go free evo into level 4, 1 evo cost into a level 5. It's like, holy crap, that's so powerful. So Ghazimon, just so you're aware, is just your basic vanilla level 5 evos on top of a tamer, as if they were a level 3 Digimon. So 2 evo cost there. And then now we got Zephyrmon here, and this is 1 on top of a level 4, 3 on top of a rookie, which will never come up because we're not running any yellow rookies, and then on top of a tamer for a memory cost of 2. So, and then also when Digivolving effect, if a hybrid is in its trait or Zoe, the Tamer Zoe is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards. all of your security Digimon get plus 3,000 DP until the end of your opponent's next turn. That's not like an overly important thing. For the most part, you're going to be taking your Digimon out of security. I know it's weird. You're going to take your Digimon out of security, and you want to have tamers in there. So that way your opponent hits into the tamers, and tamers come onto the field for free. And that's what you really like, is for that. Or for them to just hit into a bunch of option cards. So either way, you're taking your Digimon out, so that way hopefully you can recover in tamers and option cards. So this plus 3,000 DP isn't going to matter for a whole lot. Next, we got Jet Sylphimon, though. This card is so good. A lot of people are wanting it to get hit on the ban list. So when one of your Digimon with a Tamer card in its Digivolution cards digivolves into this card in your hand, which will always be the case, your level 4s will always digivolve on top of a Tamer because there's nothing else for them to digivolve on top of. You can reduce the memory cost of this Digivolution by 2. So 1 cost Evo, level 5. Wow. Nothing like this in the game. When digivolving, if a card with hybrid in its trait is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, which it will be, recovery 1. That's it. There's no stipulation at 3 security or less like you're normally used to seeing on cards like this. Nope. You just get it. I guess the drawback is that you can't splash her into any deck. She only works in a hybrid deck, whereas something like Angelomon can go into any yellow deck as a level 5. But the stipulation there being that you have to have 3 security or less. So she is only ever useful in a hybrid deck. So I guess that's how it does balance out a little bit there. And speaking of Angelomon, our secondary level 5 here, I'm running 2 of the recovery Angelomons, because this deck, like I said, we like putting option cards in our tamers into our security as much as possible, doing tons of recovery in this deck. The recovery is out of this world between the Jet Sylphimons, the Angelomons, and then we got Dynasmon here with his effect. That's a ton of recovery. So next up for our main mega of the deck is Dynasmon. So when digivolving, you may trash the top card of your security stack to reveal the top 6 cards of your deck. Add 2 level 6 or lower Digimon cards from among them to your hand. Trash the remaining cards. That trash the remaining cards is kind of interesting because it fills the trash up for Susanomon. So you discard like all your tamers that go there, or your extra hybrids that you don't need if you've got a good hand of hybrids already. Just trash the remaining ones, so that way your trash is really set up extra fast for Susanomon. And also, all turns once per turn, when a card is removed from your security stack, if you have 3 or fewer security cards, trigger recovery 1. So if you're at 4 security, you evo into Dynasmon, his effect triggers, you trash the security, and then you immediately recover 1. Because you're at 4, you went down to 3, you trigger his ability, you go right back up to 4. So that's really good. And again, for combining it with like Kari as well, so you can evo for 4 with a memory fixer on field. Normally you would pass turn to your opponent, but activate Kari, so when you lose that security to activate the Dynasmon ability, you can activate your Kari to keep the memory on your side. So that's also a really cool combo that you can do there. Really like this whole setup, this whole, like, the way everything just works together in this deck is so nice. It's also very kind of reminiscent of kind of security control, where we're just doing an insane amount of recovery to do other things. So either get free tamers onto our side of the field when our opponent swings into them, or free option activations. So if we have a bunch of, tamers on fields and hybrids and things like that, triggering that purple option is so busted. We'll cover a couple other options too that we can hit off of this guy. Very, very good plays. And then for our 2 just kind of tech options, I had the room, like, because of losing cards like Analog Youth, right? I don't need Analog Youth anymore. I don't need a white tamer on field to use Mega Digimon Fusion. Since I don't have Mega Digimon Fusion, I don't really need Analog Youth as much. It sets up the trash decently, but Susanomon also isn't like my win con anymore. So because we had that extra room, I went ahead and added these in here. Shine Greymon is just a really cool card, honestly. In a deck that runs a ton of hybrids, Shine Greymon's really great, especially if we're playing all those tamers for free, and so we have a field full of tamers. It's a real easy hop, skip, and a jump to get into a mega. So 2 evo with your hybrid, then 1 evo with your Jet Sylphie. Now you're at 0, and then just drop a Shine Greymon after that. So easy. Like, every turn you can evo all the way up into a mega. Every turn, it's absolutely busted. So when digivolving, suspend all of your yellow tamers. For each tamer you suspend this way, activate the following effect: one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4,000 DP for the turn. So if you're not familiar with Shine Greymon, say you suspend 4 tamers, you can do minus 4k 4 times. So you can combine those together to make like minus 16,000, or you could do like minus 12 on one and then minus 4 on another. You can do minus 4 on 4 different targets and just like kill a whole bunch of things in one go. So just the one of when the opportunity arises and when it's needed. Okay, so if I'm like in a really bad position, I can go up into my Shine Greymon and then potentially nuke my opponent's whole field and just have a massive comeback. If you played against Shine Greymon, you know the power of that comeback. Okay, just all right, I'm in a good position, but one Shine Greymon and I'm not going to be in a good position anymore. I mean, the same thing applies here. So very, very good stuff here. And if you ever he gets put in security, you know, the TKs can pull him out so you can have him in hand, as well as the nice draw power off the purple stuff. So getting into, even though there's a one of tech cards, getting into them actually isn't too bad. And then Susanomon, kind of that same premise of, you know, really easy to get into hand, so one of doesn't feel too bad. And then just having her as a tech card for anyone that's going to protect their stuff in raising area. So if you're going against like Ghazimon players, because Ghazmon's still very strong in this format, it's not going to lose Savior until BT8 comes out. So absolutely expect Ghazimon to still be played. With the hybrid decks taking a hit, and we saw Ghazimon still perform extremely well while the hybrids were at full power in the JP format. So absolutely expect Ghazimon to stick around. Even then, Bond's Gabumon could still stick around. If these hybrid decks are gonna hurt enough, those BT6 decks could still stick around. So stuff like this is just a really good thing to keep in on hand for the beginnings of BT7. If those decks do end up just falling off tremendously, then you can see possibly dropping this for something else. There's plenty of other things you can just bump up in the deck. Moving on, we got Susanomon, just as a nice, I mean, he's still good, right? Even if we can't Evo into him for free and immediately swing with that security attack +2, he's still a solid card, okay? I can have nothing on my field except for a single tamer and instantly drop a level 7, nuke something of my opponent's one big threat that they have on field, or even a blocker, so I can push for game next turn, something like that. Clearing a threat off the field. 7 Evo or 7 memory to delete anything. I mean, that's Gaia Force, but 1 cheaper. You know what I mean? As well as if your deck is running low, you're putting 10 cards back into your deck. That's huge also. Like, there's not anything, like, there's no real drawback from that. So 7 memory to delete something on my opponents, putting a massive 15,000 DP body on the field in the same time with security attack +2. Yeah, Gaia Force, can Gaia Force do that? No, it can't. So Susanomon, basically just a Gaia Force setting on the field is all it comes down to. So really, really cool card. Even if you can't attack the same turn that he comes out, your opponent either has to immediately deal with him and put all their resources into destroying him, or he's going to eat them for breakfast the next turn. So still a great card. Next we got Wyvern's Breath, just at a 2 of. That's all I could really fit in here. You could argue, dropping these guys entirely if you wanted to bump it up to 4. Like I said, we do tons of recovery, so putting these in security is so nice. If you saw the feature match, they had game on board and they hit into a Wyvern's Breath, and it instantly turned their whole winning possibilities off. So with tons of Zoe and TK sculpting your security throughout the whole game, you can really see like the power that your security will hold. So pull all those Digimon out, so you have nothing but tamers and options, and you are golden. Speaking of those two, we got Zoe up first. So security effect, just get a player for free, of course. And then on play, you get to search your security, just like TK does. But this time it's only hybrid or 10 warriors. And then if you pull one out, you get a recovery. And you don't have to pull anything, so if there's no targets, or even if you just don't want to pull a hybrid out for whatever reason, you don't have to with her. It's an optional effect. And then you get that recovery 1. Also has an inheritable. These are our first inheritable tamers. All of your security Digimon get plus 3,000 TB. Completely irrelevant. Like I said, you're going to pull all your security Digimon out, so you have nothing but tamers and options in there. So it could be applicable, but for the most part, we're just on playing her to get this this sculpting of our security. And then same thing for TK here. He is our dedicated memory fixer of the deck. So if we're at 2 or less, instantly being at 3 is so powerful. Like I said, you're going to 2 Evo cost into a level 4, 1 Evo cost into your level 5, and then Evo into a Mega to pass turn, and whatever that Mega is can be super impactful, like something like Shine Greymon or something like that can be very powerful. Even our Dynasmon here can be very impactful. If our opponent feels like they're about to have game on board, just putting a Dynasmon out there is like having a whole extra security that they have to deal with. So it's like hitting into 2 security, potentially with options that they have to deal with. And then also, searching for or sculpting once again our security stack, just same as Zoe, but this is just anything yellow. Now, I do have 2 of the duo tamer, TK and Kari. If your security are fewer than your opponent, you gain 2. Honestly, this was kind of difficult to trigger because we do a tremendous amount of recovery in this deck. It's really kind of hard to get lower than my opponent a lot of the times. And then its other effect of when you attack, you can suspend this to minus 1k on your opponent's Digimon. For the most part, never really came up. It wasn't that like combo potential. Now, something with like a Rapidmon, this might see a little bit more use, but for the most part, it's okay. You could even say dropping it down to 2 to bump the TK up. Normally in the past, we wouldn't need to run 4 memory fixers, but that on play effect is really, really powerful in this deck. And then the being able to get our hybrids right back on top of him, is really good. So whichever you prefer. What's nice about the Duo Tamer is if you ever do get behind while these guys are on field, man, can you have one heck of a comeback turn. The second you get behind and you've got multiple TKs and Karis, your memory is just going to skyrocket up, and then you're just going to be able to go off on this incredible turn. So there is still good value in there, even if the intent of the deck is to recover a whole bunch. It's good for when you just go behind a little bit. Then we got the Reinforced Memory Boost. Sadly, at just a 1 of, this is a very powerful card. Completely understandable. Same cost as Holy Wave, but Holy Wave just recovers. If like Holy Wave said recover 1 and then draw 1, it might be a little bit more the same, but this is just the recovery. And not just that, but you get to see what the cards are. So you look at 2 cards, and now I know exactly what I'm putting into security. So I know the exact card that's about to get hit. And then I get to add that card immediately, the other card immediately to hand. Like that alone is very good. And then also a delay 3, a gain 3 memory delay effect. Why? I don't know. I mean, like this card was never balanced like from the design standpoint. Like the card alone is incredibly good without the delay. The delay just makes it even more absurd. But yeah, just the main effect is so good. So good. So absolutely, if you're running a yellow deck, toss one of these in there. I mean, it's going to be worth it every time. And then the last 2 cards I was playing around with was win rate 60%. This is a really interesting card. I still don't know how I feel about it. If you have a tamer in play, you can use this card without meeting its color requirements. Then the next time one of your Digimon digivolves this turn, you can trash 1 Digimon card from your hand of the same color as the digivolving Digimon to reduce the memory cost of the Digivolution by 4. Like, if this doesn't work on tamers, then what's the point? Because the idea is to go Susanomon on top of a tamer. So it's kind of a bummer. So, I mean, it's going to work still with like Dynasmon or any of your Megas. If any of your Megas digivolve up into a Susanomon, it's still pretty solid. But I'm pretty sure that they did clarify that this does not work with Susanomon and tamers. So it's okay. It's really nice, though, for these particular guys. because I can go into them while I have a level 5 on field, and with that 4 Evo cost, I'm going to get tons of value out of it. So normally these guys are passing my turn with that 4 Evo cost and a memory fixer, but with win rate 60%, I can, discard an extra like hybrid or something like that to reduce that Evo down. So essentially that 4 Evo turns into a 2 Evo. That's not too bad in that case. So I haven't minded it too much, but I have also it's just felt like a win more. Honestly, most of the time it feels like a win more and not really necessary. I could definitely see dropping it maybe for 2 more Wyvern's Breath, just because I really see these values with as much recovery as we do, and security sculpting as we do with the Zoe and the TK, that having multiple Wyvern's Breath, I definitely see the value in that over something like a win rate 60%. But that's just my my personal opinion on that. So we'll go ahead and zoom out to take a look at the whole deck in its completed form here. I don't know. It's just, this is a very fun deck. Absolutely feels very, very strong. Going to be in a very good place this meta. Multiple ways to play it, whatever you kind of prefer, whatever style you prefer. It's very fluid. You can run whatever kind of mega package you want. Like, this is just the core right here. It's just like these 4 cards right here, and then your tamers, and then the whole rest of the deck is just up in the air. Play whatever you want, and it's gonna be good. I mean, that's literally how crazy this deck is. I've been experimenting with some red in this section here. So, you run like Ghazimon, to when you swing, you draw 1. So, kind of similar to the Tapirmon combo. It's only 1 until we can get the next baby, the next Ghazimon baby that allows for drawing also. So then it'd be a draw 2. Until then, it's just a draw 1 off that promo Ghazimon. But then you can run, all those red options, whatever, Gaia Force or Giga Blaster, things like that, Atomic Blaster, tons of great red removal cards. I've just really, really liked this. This is like definitely the MVP of the deck. I feel like this purple version is better than the red version you can potentially play. You're going to get 1 more draw off that, the Tapirmon Demi Marimon combo most of the time, because the Ghazimon also is probably going to die when it swings into security. So you're going to get more draw power out of the purple, as well as I think this red option is just more powerful. We already have the Wyvern's Breath to basically act as our Gaia Force. So if we already have essentially a Gaia Force in the deck, running red just to get Gaia Force doesn't really feel like it matters that much. So then you're looking at like, Giga Blaster is deleting 2 8-cost things, 2 8 costs or less. Well, this thing right here, I can delete tons of 8 costs or less, because 8 costs or left is basically your 5s, your level 5s and lower. So that's already what this does. So I can do 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like however many tamers and hybrids I have on field. This just feels like a better version. Like, absolutely loving this. The Karis is, take it or leave it. It doesn't necessarily always combo with the deck. So again, you can drop those for something else. There's so much flexibility in this deck. It's absolutely absurd. I hope you guys enjoy it.